Hi, I'm Saul. After 32 years of marriage, I thought I knew Richard better than anyone. We'd built a successful real estate business together, raised our son Marcus, and were finally enjoying the freedom of our empty nest. Or so I thought. Mom, can I stop by tonight? I need to talk to you about something, Marcus said over the phone, his voice tighter than usual. Of course, honey. Everything okay with you and Vanessa? That's that's what I need to talk about. I'll be there at 7. When Marcus arrived, his eyes were rimmed red, his normally confident posture collapsed. He sat heavily at my kitchen island. Want some coffee? I asked, already pouring him a cup. Got anything stronger? I raised an eyebrow but pulled out the bourbon Richard kept for special occasions. This serious, huh? Mom, I don't know how to say this. Marcus stared into his glass. Vanessa's been acting strange for months. Always on her phone, working late, making excuses. Marcus, are you saying... I thought she was cheating, so I checked her phone last night while she was in the shower. He took a shaky breath. She's been seeing someone for almost a year. I sat beside him, placing my hand on his. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Mom, it's Dad. His voice cracked. She's been sleeping with Dad. The room tilted. What? That's not possible. Your father wouldn't... I have the texts, Mom. Pictures. They've been meeting at his office condo downtown, planning a life together. Marcus pulled out his phone, sliding it across the counter. See for yourself. My hands shook as I scrolled through messages that destroyed my world. Richard's distinctive shorthand, plans, promises, intimate details no mother-in-law should ever know about her son's wife. Have you confronted them? I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. Not yet. I came to you first. Dad's your husband. Vanessa's my wife. Marcus ran his hands through his hair. What are we supposed to do with this? The doorbell rang. Marcus tensed. That's probably Elena. I called her on the way over. My best friend burst in without waiting for an answer. Where is it? Show me the evidence before I hunt Richard down myself. Hello to you too, Elena, I said. Don't you hello me when your snake of a husband is sleeping with your daughter-in-law? Elena dropped her purse on the counter. How are you so calm? I'd be setting things on fire. I'm in shock, I replied, handing her Marcus's phone. Take a look. Elena's eyes widened as she scrolled. That sneaky, pathetic, midlife crisis having... Mom doesn't need that right now, Marcus interrupted. Sorry, but... Wait. Elena stopped scrolling. There's something else here. They're talking about money. Your money, Soul. I frowned. What do you mean? Look at this message from 2 weeks ago. Elena pointed at the screen. Once we've moved the Robertson Commission, she'll never trace it. The divorce lawyer said it's bulletproof. Marcus grabbed the phone back. He's planning to hide assets from you, Mom. They're already talking to divorce lawyers. While pretending everything's normal at Sunday dinners, I whispered. Yesterday, he asked about my mother's birthday present. We've been planning our anniversary trip. Elena's voice hardened. Call Janet. Richard's sister? Why? Because she handles the accounting for your business, and she's always liked you better than him anyway. I nodded slowly, my shock transforming into something colder and more focused. You're right, and I think it's time I had a conversation with Detective Parker, too. The guy who helped with the Henderson fraud case last year? Marcus asked. Exactly. I took a deep breath. If Richard thinks he can discard 32 years and steal from me in the process, he's about to learn a very expensive lesson. Janet, I need your complete honesty, I said, sitting across from my sister-in-law at her favorite cafe 3 days later. Janet's eyes darted nervously. This about the West Side development? Because I told Richard those permits weren't finalized yet, but does he listen? Never. It's about Richard and Vanessa. Her coffee cup froze halfway to her mouth. Oh God, you know? Who told you? Was it Marcus? I told Richard this would blow up spectacularly, but did he listen? Of course not. You knew? The betrayal stung afresh. Only for a few months. I found hotel receipts when I was reconciling the business accounts. Janet leaned forward. Saul, I've been trying to figure out how to tell you. But Richard swore he was going to end it and come clean. While he was consulting divorce lawyers and hiding assets? Janet's face paled. What assets? What are you talking about? I showed her the messages. As she read, her expression transformed from confusion to outrage. That scheming little... She stopped herself. The Robertson Commission? That's nearly $2 million. And these transfers to the Cayman account? That's your money, too. Can you get me the records? Everything from the past year? Janet didn't hesitate. I'll have copies on your desk by tomorrow. And Sol, I'm testifying for whatever you need. Family loyalty has its limits. Miss Warren, based on these financial records, we have clear evidence of attempted fraud. Detective Parker's precise, measured tone filled my living room the following week. Your husband has been systematically diverting company assets. Elena snorted from her position by the window. In English, Richard's been stealing your money to set up a love nest with your son's wife. Tell me again why we can't just change the locks and burn his designer suits on the front lawn. Because, Detective Parker continued, Miss Warren has the opportunity to handle this entirely by the book, which will result in much more significant consequences. What exactly are we talking about? I asked. Wire fraud, tax evasion, breach of fiduciary duty. The detective ticked off points on his fingers. With Janet's documentation and the electronic evidence, we can build a case for criminal charges as well as civil penalties. Marcus paced behind the sofa. Is this really necessary? I mean, I hate what they did, but sending Dad to jail? He made his choices, I said quietly. Just like Vanessa did. Speaking of choices, Elena interjected. Patricia called earlier defending Richard. Said you must have done something to drive him away. I felt my face flush. Patricia hasn't spoken to Richard in 15 years except at company parties. What would she know? Exactly nothing, which is what I told her before suggesting several anatomically impossible activities she could attempt. Elena! I couldn't help laughing despite everything. What? Someone's got to defend your honor while you're busy being all strategic and calm. Detective Parker cleared his throat. If we could return to the matter at hand. Miss Warren will need to confront your husband formally. I recommend doing this at your office with witnesses present. When? I asked. Tomorrow. The financial documents are being processed as evidence, but we have enough to move forward. Tomorrow, then, I agreed, a strange calm settling over me. It's time Richard and Vanessa learned that actions have consequences. The conference room at Warren Real Estate fell silent when Richard walked in, Vanessa trailing behind him. His confident stride faltered when he saw me sitting at the head of the table, flanked by Janet and our company lawyer. Sol, what's this about? I had appointments all afternoon. Richard's gaze darted to Janet, who refused to meet his eyes. Sit down, Richard. You too, Vanessa. My voice remained steady. Vanessa fidgeted with her bracelet. I should probably go. This seems like, company business or whatever. Oh, it definitely concerns you, Elena said from the corner, arms crossed. Or did you think sleeping with your father-in-law wouldn't have professional implications? The color drained from Richard's face. Sol, this isn't... Don't. I placed a folder on the table. Don't insult me by lying. We have the texts, the hotel receipts, the financial records, all of it. Janet pushed her own stack of papers forward. Including documentation of the $2 million you've been siphoning from the company, Richard. That money is rightfully mine. Richard slammed his hand on the table. I built this company. We built it together, I corrected. And 40% belongs to Marcus. Or did you forget that detail while planning your new life? Vanessa's eyes widened. You said the money was from your personal accounts. You said everything was legal. Shut up, Vanessa, Richard hissed. The door opened and Marcus entered, his face stone. Nice to see you both. Together. Again. Marcus! Vanessa jumped up. Baby, this isn't what it looks like. Really? Because it looks exactly like you sleeping with my father while planning to steal my mother's money. Marcus's voice shook. Did I miss something? Richard attempted a different approach. Saul, we've been married for 32 years. We can work through this. It was a mistake. A year-long mistake with my daughter-in-law? I raised an eyebrow. While consulting divorce attorneys and hiding assets? I was confused. Vanessa was she was there, and things between us haven't been good. Our anniversary trip to Bali was planned for next month. See? That's what I mean. Always planning, always working. When was the last time we actually connected? I laughed, genuinely amused by his desperation. You're blaming me for your affair with our son's wife? It wasn't like that, Vanessa interjected. We didn't mean to hurt anyone. We just connected, you know? These things happen. To selfish people with no moral compass, yes, I suppose they do, Janet muttered. Richard tried a new tactic. Saul, please, I'm sorry, we can fix this. I'll break it off with Vanessa. We can go to counseling. That's your solution? Discard her like you tried to discard me? I shook my head. The problem isn't who you're sleeping with, Richard. It's who you are. What exactly do you want? Richard's voice hardened. Everything you tried to take from me. The company, the assets, your freedom. Richard laughed. My freedom? Don't be dramatic. Detective Parker chose that moment to enter. Richard Warren, we need to ask you some questions about wire fraud and tax evasion. Richard's face contorted with rage. He lunged across the table, grabbing my wrist. You vindictive bitch! You think you can do this to me? Security guards appeared instantly, pulling Richard back as Detective Parker stepped forward. Add assault to the charges, the detective said calmly. As they led Richard away, he shouted over his shoulder, This isn't over, Saul, you'll regret this. Vanessa stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. What happens to me? Marcus answered, his voice ice. Divorce papers, today. And you'd better pray my mother doesn't add you to the lawsuit. All rise. Court is now in session, the Honorable Judge Myers presiding. 4 years had passed since that confrontation in the conference room. 4 years of legal battles, testimonies, and rebuilding my life. Richard had fought every charge, but the evidence was overwhelming. Mr. Warren, please rise for sentencing, the court officer announced. Richard stood, the confident businessman now reduced to a gray-faced defendant in an ill-fitting suit. His eyes found mine in the gallery, silently pleading. Judge Myers adjusted her glasses. Richard Warren, this court finds you guilty of wire fraud, tax evasion, and assault. You have betrayed not only your business partners and the tax code, but your own family. I sentence you to 5 years in federal prison and restitution of $3.7 million. The gavel struck with finality. As they led Richard away, he asked to speak with me one last time. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Saul, he began, his voice breaking. I've lost everything. My reputation, my freedom. Please, can't we at least end this with some peace between us? Peace? I tilted my head. You mean forgiveness? I was wrong. So wrong. About everything. Yes, you were. Saul, please. No one has stood by me except you, even now. Everyone else abandoned me. Even Vanessa left after the money dried up. Imagine that. Richard's eyes filled with desperate tears. We had 32 years together. Doesn't that count for something? It counted for everything, Richard. That's why your betrayal warranted consequences. I'll have nothing when I get out. That's not true, I said. You'll have the knowledge that actions have consequences. It's quite valuable, actually. Richard's face hardened. You've become cold. The Saul I knew would never... The soul you knew died the day Marcus showed me those texts. I'm someone else now. Someone stronger. Who's going to run the company while I'm gone? You can't do it alone. I smiled. I'm not alone. Richard's eyes widened as he looked past me. Marcus? And me. Janet stepped up beside me. And me. Detective Parker, now John to me, joined us. We've formed quite the management team, I explained. The company's up 30% this year. You planned this, Richard whispered. All of it. No, Richard. You planned it when you decided our life together wasn't enough. I just ensured you reaped exactly what you sowed. As the guards led him away, Marcus put his arm around my shoulders. You okay, Mom? Better than okay. I watched Richard's retreating back. Ready for dinner? Elena's meeting us at the restaurant. With her new boyfriend? Janet teased. The mysterious Paolo we've heard so much about but never seen? I laughed. She swears he's real this time. As we walked out of the courthouse into the bright sunshine, John took my hand. You know, most people would have settled for a divorce. Most people aren't married to someone who commits felonies while having an affair with their daughter-in-law. Fair point. Still, remind me never to cross you. Just be honest, John. That's all I ever wanted. Have you ever wondered what you'd do if the person you trusted most betrayed you? Would you crumble? Or would you find strength you never knew you had? Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting better. Like and subscribe for more stories about finding power in life's darkest moments.